Everybody ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
That's all it counts.
I call to order Mississinewa Community School Corporation regularly scheduled board meeting of trustees. Chris, Cunningham will lead some prayer and pledge, please. Thank you. Please
Let us
stand.
pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity tonight, Lord, to make decisions about the welfare of our children. We ask you, bless our efforts tonight. Keep us always at the forefront of what's best for them and what's best for our community, Lord. We ask also that you would be with our servicemen and women who put themselves in harm's way every day to protect us in many places that we would not want to be. And they do that as an act of service. And we thank you for them. We ask that you would bring them home safely. Just watch over and protect them, Lord. Be with us this night as we make these decisions. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham.
You're most welcome, sir.
Okay. 78, item 78, minutes from the, a motion from the board. Accept the minutes.
We'd
President?
recommend approval as presented. I
Okay.
didn't know if you were going to say anything, so I thought I'd better
Yeah.
better
You thought you
make a
better jump in there?
recommendation.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the minutes. Don't spoil my record.
Well, he looked at you.
Yeah.
I got a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Rivera, okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 79, homework policy. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, we have provided to the board a few weeks ago a homework policy. We met with the Mississinewa Teachers Association, as we're obligated to do. We met with them a couple of times to discuss this policy, and the administration had felt that this is important in support of the grade policy that the board enacted about a year ago. So we would recommend approval as presented.
What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mrs. Miller?
I'll make a motion that we approve the homework policy as recommended.
Okay. And,
Second.
Second, Mr. Smith? Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I abstain.
Okay. Please record that. So, personnel, Mr. McKenzie, item 8.
Yes, we have the following personnel items for the board's consideration this evening. Janelle May has requested a leave of absence beginning March 22nd through the remainder of this school year. Josh Stearns has resigned as the assistant varsity baseball coach effective immediately. Ariel Galligan has resigned as the head cheerleading coach for Mississinewa High School effective immediately. We also have the following recommendations to present to you this evening. Andy Resch to be hired as the head boys golf coach effective immediately. Andy Varner to be hired as the assistant boys coach effective immediately. Assistant golf coach effective immediately. Andy Varner and Andy Resch to be hired as the middle school golf coaches effective immediately. Brian Elliott to be hired as the JV boys baseball coach effective immediately. Kyle Zapes to be hired as the volunteer baseball coach effective immediately. And we had one just come in today from the athletic director at the middle school. Todd Spencer to be hired as the girls soccer coach at the middle school effective immediately. And we would recommend approval of these personnel items as presented this evening.
What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Ms. Freitas?
I move that we accept the personnel report as presented.
Okay. We have a motion, need a second?
Second.
Say, Mr. Crouch. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same, motion carries. 81, conferences, Mr.
Yes, we just have one for the board's consideration this evening, and that is Leah Colvin to attend the Making the Best Use of a Google Classroom in Indianapolis on March 20th. We would recommend approval of this conference request as presented.
What's the board?
Mr. President,
Ms. Freitas? Yeah.
I move that we accept this conference request as presented.
Okay, got a motion,
I'll second.
got a second. this is the year, the month of the ladies, right? Well, okay. Ms. Miller, are there any questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay, motion carries. 82, facilities report, Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, first of all, let's start with a recommendation.
Did I miss something?
No, under facilities.
Okay.
A facility recommendation, I'm sorry, Mr. Gaskin. We would recommend that the board approve the purchase and installation of a new public address system out at the high school. The one they currently have is the original, which is over 4 years old. This system would allow for us to also implement some safety features that would run through this PA system, such as various emergency alerts, panic button, those kinds of things are options that this system would allow us to incorporate in the future. Also, the clocks have been a problem in that school for years. They don't keep the correct time. Many of them don't keep time at all. And this system would address that. Right now, Mr. Quaterher, I think, is the only one who knows how to update this system and repair it. So that takes up some of his time. He has to do it almost on a monthly basis. So this was a part of the original plan that you approved back in February, but we just didn't want to process it until we got the price in. We were kind of thinking it might be $50,000 or more to purchase, and when it came in where it did around the low 30s, we thought we should go ahead and do it. And I know it was a high priority for Mr. Quaterher and his team, more important than some of the other things they had on their list. But I don't think at this time we're going to have to take anything off their list. But so we would recommend this as presented to the board in your packet and answer any, or attempt to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Cunningham.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of the sound system as presented.
Okay.
Don't say sound system, that got me in trouble.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to make a comment when it gets done, but go ahead. Second, anybody want to second this?
Second.
Mr. Smith?
We'll
Okay.
call it a PA system.
Okay. Yeah, anybody questions or comments? I think that was the only thing, was we thought it like it was another
I think you thought it might
it-
have been like in the gym.
gym. Yes, everybody, yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
calls that I got, yes. So are there any questions?
question,
Okay,
sir.
sure.
Yeah, Ted, I noticed on this proposal, numbers 8 through 13, cable is not included. Cable is not included. Cable installation labor is not included. On and on it goes. Now, I'm uncomfortable with that, because I'd like to know, do we have any idea how much extra these things down here are going to be besides this bid?
Yeah, they won't know until actually they get in and install, see what's not working, kind of bad cable.
Or
So the-
what do you anticipate? Do you even anticipate?
I think we should be all right, because we haven't come across where we notice any cabling that's been disturbed, because it's been missing conduit.
The speakers all work, that's why it was so much less than we anticipated, because we're gonna use our current cables, our current speakers, and our current clock. The problem is, what we found is the clocks themselves stop working. If we take the clock off the wall and put a new clock on, it works. So the cable is good. They're gonna test, we don't have any issues with speakers right now, but they're gonna test each of those zones, and then they'll present to us if they need to repair cable or speakers. I think, based on our current use right now, there is no speaker issue.
So they'll come back, they'll give us an idea of what that's going to cost? Okay.
Will those clocks,
If anything,
will they be digital clocks?
no.
And I also wanted to ask, in the middle school, we have clocks there that kids can see, and are they working?
The clocks are run through the TV.
Oh, okay, okay, I got it.
Anyone else? Okay. Do you want a we got, I asked for a motion, I lost track, did I?
Yeah, I made a motion.
Okay, Chris, that's
Jenny
what I got down,
seconded
I
it.
wanna make sure.
Yeah.
Denny seconded, correct. Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, you had more on.
Yeah,
That's good.
the
That's
other
what-
item we had under facilities was just the summer maintenance plan. We updated a lot of your pricing. Not very much left that we have to price out, and I know Ted told me this week he thought he might get a couple other items in, but a lot of what was originally estimates are confirmed at this point. And so, we'd be happy to ask any questions or that you might have concerning the summer maintenance plan.
Anybody from the board, any questions? Well, guess not, okay. Okay,
We'll continue to keep you updated as we get new prices in that are confirmed on what's not yet confirmed, so,
okay, we can move on then?
yes.
Okay, legislative update, Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, thanks, kudos to Pam for putting this report in your packet. And don't think I'm like doing all kinds of work, because the ISBA has really given me a lot of good information to go on. So most of this I sent to you in an email the end of last week. I was hoping I would get something today from ISBA, but I did not. Couple things that it looks like the budget, we're looking at, I think, 2.2 and 2.3. ISBA would like us, they would still like it to be around 2.5 or better for increase for this next year in the budget. Couple of bills actually that are kind of on the watch list to target is House Bill 1021. And primarily what's happened is circuit breakers. When you have the circuit breakers that come into place, it really affects the money that we get off property taxes for school funding. And also, the proliferation of TIF districts are, so when they give, when they authorize someone to get a tax break, then we don't get those property taxes that come from that until that's relieved. So this bill, 1021, originally was going to, the one I'm telling you about now, originally it was going to be something that it passed 97-0 on a vote in January, and it was going to basically limit any damage that we would get through those waivers. We would keep our, the reimbursement that we got through taxes. And now there's a new, they've added a new rider to that. I've already called a couple of our representatives to say something about it. So hopefully, they will put it back the way that it was before, because it would, if that goes into place, school corporations around the state that are heavily dependent on property taxes are gonna be hurt. Here's just this is a fact that they sent in. School corporations have lost $736 million in tax cap or circuit breaker losses since 2016. So if you look at that, how that's impacting education around the state. And that's really all I have. Everything is moving, I mean, right along. They will send me occasionally they call it a call to action. And then, depending on what I think about the legislation, I usually call them. I will call the Travis Holdman and then Kevin Mahan on any ones that we have. And there was one that we got late today, Tab. Like, I think you sent it to us. I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's 566. Do you remember? I didn't know if you brought it with you or you remember. I didn't get a chance to look at it from
I mean,
work. So.
I don't know that I can articulate it in my
I'll-
own words.
I can send it.
But I can read to you, it's just a small paragraph.
Yeah, sure.
What it essentially says. This bill allows single-family housing to be placed in the tax
That was it.
increment finance district.
Right.
Simply stated, our school corporations will see no increases in assessed value as new homes are built in our communities. We will have to assume all increased costs related to transporting these students, providing technology, school buildings, et cetera, without an offsetting increase in assessed valuation. Currently, SB 566 calls for this in counties of less than 100,000 residents. But much like HB 1021 opens a door that causes concern for every coalition school corporation.
Yeah. So, and I think that was a call to action one too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll get on that tomorrow. And
Chris, are
Yeah.
they, in that House Bill 1021, are they moving any of the other non-represented entities such as libraries, schools, et cetera, seats on those TIP redevelopment commission?
only affects education. I don't know why that is. They've got it in here. I haven't read the bill. I'm just looking. It says as amended, coupled with the proposed transfer target, and they say 15% from the education fund to the operation fund, will make school corporations budgeting even more challenging. Jill, you may know that better than me. I don't know. They don't mention the other ones though. Marty, I'd have to look it up.
There was a move to do that because those entities, schools, libraries, are getting cut out of the TIP dollars, and they're not getting a vote as to whether TIP should be improved.
Right, that was at our, they mentioned that at our legislative liaison meeting
Basically
about
get you guys a seat at the table.
putting somebody on the table for that, of appointing someone, one from the libraries and one from the schools. But I don't know where they're at with that to be able to vote on it. But I mean, certainly that's, I mean, you know, we get a lot, we lose a lot when those,
Yeah,
what you gain in business from that part of it, we lose on the education side.
and quickly.
Yeah.
You lose the first dollars right up front.
And Jill, you probably know this stuff more than I do, but I
Well, I
get
don't remember
confused
the
as I go
exact figures. I heard you say a couple different things in there, and that, the TIF has hurt us, and it has for, several years, ever since they've really started TIF. And, down the street, we've lost a lot of money year after year on, like, the Walmart distribution center and that kind of thing. So that is money we're not getting right off the bat, but then you've got circuit breaker that comes into a play when you're talking about assessed valuations and the increase. Those are all capped, the 1%, 2%, 3%. And that's where we're losing another $125,000 a year that keeps growing. And then if your assessed valuation doesn't grow, to me, it almost like keeps recycling, because if your assessed valuation doesn't grow, that hits you, but then when it's capped, it hits you again, because that's the amount that you build your budget on, then you lose because people don't, their assessed valuations don't grow.
Mhm.
So it's,
And if the housing part of it takes into effect with communities less than 100,000, then
Why
There-
would they do that?
I have no idea.
Unless
The only
they're just
thing-
wanting to starve small counties.
Well, or you're trying to increase, the thought process might be increase the people wanting to build, build in smaller communities, build homes in smaller communities, because they're not gonna have the tax to deal with. So, but,
that's true, whereas the TIP districts, like, if you, like Walmart, if you allow them to come in and have the TIF, then if those people that go to work there and aren't employed there don't remain in your city, then it's not going to help you, and I think we've seen some of that.
mhm,
So I think maybe by doing this, they're trying to get people to move into the area,
mhm.
but then again, that's more that the school's not gonna gain if they're capping those assessed values.
And I don't know why they picked counties with less than 100,000, that's the, I mean, if, I could see where that would be if you wanted to say for everyone, but,
Right.
I mean, maybe they're, I don't know, I don't know enough about it, but when I got it, I'll look it up, the 566, look it up from there, yeah. It's a bunch of attorneys, Jill, that's how it is, that's how they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
You're a
sent-
good one though, Marty, I'm talking about the bad ones, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, if we sent we sent legislators with brick masons, they're gonna be made out of brick. And now let's get along. Relationship. Hey, Mr. McKenzie, while we're on this thing, I talked to you about that article written by Scott Simpsons, and that's another thing that they're sticking daggers at the too. I mean, the, about keeping the money in your fund, your work fund that says, criticized for having, budget, cash in your budget, then turn around, So here it says, our legislature criticized school boards like yours to have cash balances, and then they set on $2 billion. They said to keep bonds at a low, low rate, but that's, what they're looking to do there is the same thing. They're taking it, they're attacking us from different ends, aren't they?
Yes, I would agree.
I mean, they're just,
To me,
well, I can remember that money helped us out when we got cut, 2008, we had to go back and
Right.
redo the budget, correct?
Yeah.
And we never got any of it back.
no,
We're still waiting though.
it's about a third of $1 million cut.
Yeah.
To our budget. I think in the end, if things stay the way they are for this year, coming year, we're gonna be better off than what we were, but not as better off as we should have been.
Yeah.
They're talking seriously about reducing what they call the complexity index, which is basically,
The richer schools get more money, right?
Providing increased funding for students who are on free and reduced.
SNAP and TANF.
Who are in poverty or close to poverty. It's not a hard case every time that this situation exists, but generally, students that come from difficult economic circumstances generally tend to be harder to educate. It takes more, they come to school in a lot of cases behind, and it takes more resources, more personnel to try to catch them up. It takes summer school, it takes a variety of extra learning opportunities and personnel to try to compensate for that deficit they come to school with in a lot of cases. Not every one of them, but generally speaking, a lot of them. And now the state's doing all these things to try to increase funding for schools, but those who have an inordinate number of kids in that situation, like we're around 70%, they're gonna reduce the amount that we get. And they're not just gonna save that and put it in the rainy day fund. They're gonna spread that around to everybody else. And school districts that have a low percentage of free and reduced students and poverty, economic distressed families, they're gonna get those dollars that they're taking away from school systems like ours.
In the article, they said a school like East Chicago would be around they would lose $14 a student, but a school like Zionsville would gain $199 per student, so. And they got the lowest, go from the ones that got the most.
And Zionsville's one of the richest.
One of the richest school
Yeah,
systems,
in
that
the
was why
state.
I just wanted to, it was in the paper, and I thought, I wanted to get your comments on it. Is there anything, anybody else? Chris, you good with that? Everything done?
I appreciate everything Mr. Cunningham does.
Yes.
And the reports he gives and the information he provides us every board meeting.
Item 84, corporate sponsors donation grants.
Yeah, we have several of those tonight for the board to consider donations. To the After Prom from the Tree of Life bookstore in the amount of $100. To the Special Education Co-op Unified Track Meet from the Arms Hunt Funeral Home in the amount of $500. To the Co-op Special Education Unified Track Meet from Edward Jones and Mark Siglin in the amount of $100. To the Co-op Special Education Unified Track Meet from Jim and Cheryl Richards in the amount of $200. To the Co-op Special Education Unified Track Meet from Kennedy's Incorporated in the amount of $100. To the Co-op Track Meet from Norris Insurance in the amount of $50. To the Co-op for the track meet from POET Biorefining in the amount of $50. To the Co-op track meet from Ruff Mortgage and Clayton Wright in the amount of $300. To the Co-op for the track meet from Rilo LLC in the amount of $25. And to break that string, to the boys and girls soccer teams for uniforms from Ole Miss Youth Sports in the amount of $5,053.36. So we would recommend approval of these donations as presented this evening.
What's the board pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Smith?
I move to approve the corporate sponsors and donations as
Okay.
presented.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Herrera? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Claims for the corporation, Ms. Townsend. Mrs.
Yes,
Townsend.
sir. I'm recommending approval of
Ms.
claims totaling $1,910,752.11, please.
Give the board a few seconds to look over things. Anybody got any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Crouch.
make a motion to approve the claims as presented here.
Okay. Got a motion?
Second.
I'll give this to Mrs. Smith, Ms. Miller. Okay. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence and other business, 86, Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, reminder to the board that we have another executive session following this meeting. Also, spring break is coming up, begins this Friday, March 22nd, and it will run through April 1st on Monday. And I will be out of the office from March 22nd through March 29th. The next board meeting will be April 8th. A reminder that we have the ISBA Fall Conference scheduled for September 29th through October 1st. Anybody that is going, we would plan to leave from the central office on that Sunday around 3:30 in the afternoon. We would head back to Gas City on Tuesday afternoon around lunchtime. And if you or a guest are planning to attend the state conference this fall, please let Mrs. Wilson know by text or email or just by passing her by. So let her know. So, any questions about the fall conference, the state conference? Okay. We're not at any deadline point, so we're not trying to stress you out or put pressure on you in any way, but check your calendars and if you have already determined that you're going or not going, let us know, and when we get closer to a deadline time, we'll let you know. I think you know, as a board, that Northview Elementary competed in the state robotics competition. We had, all our students were successful, and we had one team that actually won the state, and so sometime in April or May, we plan to bring the team in with the coaches and do a little presentation for you and give you an opportunity to observe them and to celebrate them and recognize them. Mrs. Lockwood, do you have anything to add to that?
We do have 2 teams, a total of 13 kids that'll be participating in the World's competition in Louisville, Kentucky, April 28th, 29th, and 30th. There are teams from all over the world, obviously, that will compete in this. There are teams from Australia, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan. There are teams from Puerto Rico all over the country, and I don't know, a whole slew list of other teams. I think there are 400 teams in total competing. So one of our teams placed at the state and did get to go. The way the rules go, you can only qualify in 1 division. So if they have teams that qualify in 2 divisions, they go to the skills of teams. And teams that score higher in the skills then get a place to go in there. So our second team was number 1 in the skills in their division, so they then got a bid to go to. So to have 13, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders compete at the Worlds, that's going to be a heck of an experience. It's going to be at the Kentucky Expo Center. I don't know if any of you have ever been there. It is a huge building, so it will be a real experience. It was interesting going through the directions they have. At this time directions are going to be given for the competition in Chinese, and at this time they're going to be given in German, and then they're going to be given in Spanish, and the English directions are going to be given at 4:30. I do know that. But it'll be an awesome opportunity and experience for our kids. So we're very excited that they get to compete in that.
What about transportation and lodging? Have you guys made a decision on?
We have our parent meeting tomorrow night. We've actually secured lodging. There'll be a room for each one of the kids and their families.
Okay.
There will be a cost of that, but we're gonna provide opportunities, for people to either, if they want to help with donations, or we got a fundraiser opportunity for kids to help with costs. So we're gonna give the parents some options in doing that.
So it's 13 parents, 13 individual?
13, yes.
Are there any brothers, sisters, or anything like that, or just?
Well, if they wanna bring them, I mean.
No, I mean, no, I mean,
that's-
is there any on the team?
No.
Okay, okay.
Actually, one of them, it'll be 12 rooms.
Okay, yeah,
So there will be 12 rooms that will be divided by 13 contestants, I guess,
okay.
competitors.
Anybody else take this? No? Mr. McKenzie, got it?
No, I just couldn't be prouder
Oh, no.
of Northview Elementary and all the adults and students that have worked to make this happen. We appreciate them so much. It just seems like we've just expanded our opportunities for academic competition in a significant way in the last several years, and it's been great for kids and great for our school district and our curriculum. So we just appreciate them so much and look forward to how they called it Worlds, and I kept saying Nationals, and so they had to correct me and let me know that, you know, there's people coming from all over the world, not just the United States, so.
Yeah, well, some of our kids have, I don't think have ever been around people that speak another language, so to go and to experience this, it's gonna be a lot of fun for them.
But I look forward to them having that experience and then coming back to us later in the spring and tell us about it. Show off a little bit, let us recognize them, so. The other thing I was gonna have tonight was Mrs. Graham, our special education co-op director and our local director was going to give a short presentation on unified sports, and especially basketball that just ended, and they've got a big track meet planned in May to be held for the county at Taylor University. But she came to work this morning with a really bad cold, and we had a co-op meeting with the superintendents this morning. So as soon as that was over, she went home, and I told her that we would do this at a later date in April. So that's all I have. Mrs. Townsend, Mrs. Winter, you guys have anything to add? Any of the principals or administrators have anything to add for the board? Okay.
Does the board have anything as far as anything we'll bring up?
We just hope everybody has a great spring break. I think I can say this safely without feeling that I misspoke. All the school people, students, parents, staff really need this spring break. If not for any other reason, just to get physically healthier, we need this break, and we need warm weather.
I just want to say one thing, and Ms. Freitas is on the library board, and I was talking to her earlier, my wife went through a bunch of things that our local library, Mill Township, SL are doing, and they're really into for the kids, to do things for the young people, from, you know, preschool, reading books, those are the thousands, she probably did there, and I know they got something for the younger, the teens and stuff, that's been successful, and this lady has been to about every place, she's real community oriented, and so you probably, if you haven't had it in one of your meetings, you probably will have soon, the way it sounds, so I just think she's doing a real nice job, so. Everybody's got anything else? 87, adjournment, everybody's favorite things, like recess, so. Ms. Miller? Okay.
Second.
Second by Ms. Freitas. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.